Welcome to the first episode of this new series that is yet to be named as of the recording hour. But this is the first episode. I'm really happy to be here with Mr. Jack Parrock, and I'll let him introduce himself because he'll do a better job of it than I can. But I have two things I want to tell you before I let him introduce himself. These two things about this man. Uh, I watch Euronews a lot, and so I have been seeing Jack on my TV for the last 1 year. And one thing that I always know when the presenter, Rosie or Isabel, or anyone says, we now go to Jack Parrock in Brussels, is that I'll either learn something new about the topic or I'll get a new perspective. And this is not something that I say lightly. Jack is one of my favorite journalists on ground because whenever they cut to him, I get to learn a new fact or a new perspective on existing facts. And the second thing that I wanted to tell is he has a new puppy. And so follow him on Instagram. If you don't want to follow him for the inside scoop of Brussels, follow him for Teddy. See one picture of Teddy and you'll be hooked onto his Instagram forever.
Oh, I love it. This dog is the best dog in the entire world. We've had him for 1 month now and totally changed my life. I'm obsessed. It's the best thing ever done in our household. Let's get this done. That's really nice of you to say. And it's really nice of you to say those kind words about my reporting as well. Thank you so much. I mean, it's actually it's a bit of a philosophy of mine that I try to do. That in every new live that I do, I try and bring one new piece of information. That's an ambition of mine. So when you say that, like that's actually, it's kind of nice that comes across. That's a sort of a mission accomplished.
It's working.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so you are a Brussels correspondent. You work with Euronews and you have worked with other channels in the past. You also moderate events, but you are a specialist on European Union and NATO. Am I correct?
Yeah. So I came to Brussels 7 years ago. I've been working for Euronews for about 2 years, maybe 2 years. I was moved here. I was working as a local radio reporter in the UK after doing a journalism course a few years after my initial bachelor's. I did a year-long course in London and then was fighting to get into the industry. And so I was working as a local radio reporter. Often the petrol that I was paying to drive to the stations was costing me more than it was to be paid to do the shifts. I was thinking, why did I go into journalism? What a stupid idea! I've spent all this money, and then I got a call because I'm quite a good shooter. I was relatively confident around cameras, and I got a call from the leader that had led the course that I did, and said, "Listen, there's this company called Feature Story News, and they're looking for someone in Brussels, maybe junior producer, someone that they'll turn into a correspondent." And then I came to Brussels for a week, and I met a woman called Sandra Gatman, who is now she's doing extremely well in her career. She's at Al Jazeera and has a show called Start Here, which is a huge hit, big success. She's fab. And she was running the office for Feature Story News here, and we just got on like a house on fire. She's one of my best friends still, and she just taught me everything I know, gave me so many opportunities, so much training, so much love. Like I owe my entire career basically to her. She just took a chance on me, and to some of the senior management there at FSM as well. And I worked there, and then I ended up, she moved on to TRT World and whatever, and I ended up taking on the bureau there. I built a new bureau with a new studio set up, and then 2 years ago, Euronews, when NBC had like a thing, and there was this show called Raw Politics, I was like, I want to be on that show. So we started sort of dancing and courting, and eventually I took over a couple of maternity covers for some of the other correspondents. So I was covering Shona Murray's maternity, and then Maeve McMahon's maternity, and then they kept me on part-time after both of them had finished their babies. So here I am in Brussels. Yeah, so I never really thought I was going to be a Brussels correspondent. I never really thought I was going to sort of end up as a sort of specialist in EU and NATO stuff. But being in Brussels for a long time, that's what you learn.
Perfect. My next question was going to be about your journalism school and your journey, but I think you've pretty much covered it. Where did you exactly do journalism from?
So I did a degree, my bachelor's in English and German at the University of Liverpool, and then a couple of years after that, I went to the London College of Communication to do a PG DIP, a postgraduate diploma in broadcast journalism. There's been some quite famous people that came out of that course. John Sopel, the BBC's North America editor.
I've heard.
He's an LCC graduate. And Helen Bowden, who is the director of BBC News as well. She came out of that. But the course no longer exists anymore, sadly. So the alumni is closed. It's only us.
My problem with BBC News is that being in India, I am very interested, and this might surprise you, but I really keenly follow British politics. Half an hour ago, I was listening to some of the PMQs that are going on. And so I keenly follow British politics, and I really like the coverage that BBC does of it sometimes, but I can never really get to watch it because I don't have a license to watch the BBC in India. I can't get one. And so the only BBC coverage that I get is of the world news, never of the domestic news. That is my problem with the BBC News.
Interesting.
Let's talk about your life in Brussels. How has it been living in this hub of the European Union?
So you'll find people that come here, sort of the Eurocrats and the EU bubble, and some people love it and some people hate it. I absolutely love this city. I love the life of it. I love the huge international group of people. I've met some amazing, the brightest and the best of Europe come to Brussels, basically. And I know like us Brits don't see it as that, but if you're a super, super smart kid working in politics or journalism or whatever in Latvia or Finland or whatever, Cyprus, getting to Brussels is like the achievement. It means you're going to because those smaller countries, the EU is so important to them. I'm not saying it's the only success, but it is a beacon of importance. And I just absolutely fell in love with it. Also, if you want to succeed as a journalist, Brussels is a good place to start. So many stories, so much attention, and because other people don't want to be here because they don't think it's particularly snazzy or it's not Paris or it's not London or it's whatever. But actually, it's a super cool city and there's loads of great people. So I absolutely love it. I'm starting to think whether maybe a little time. I went to the US and covered the elections for Euronews, and I now have a visa, which means I can go and work there. And now I'm like, oh. That's a new perspective on life. But I love Brussels. I'm settled here. It's a great city, great people, fun, travel everywhere.
I saw your struggles with some of the fans who did not really believe in the election results on that day. That was fun.
Yeah, so on there, you saw that thing on TV with that guy that was like shouting at me. Yeah, that was crazy. Listen, the US election, it like taught me so much. I went on holiday to New York in 2016 in November, just after Trump had been elected. It was really glum. And I don't think I realised how divided and how bitter it is in the States, to be honest, and how distrustful people are of the police and how distrustful people are of other groups. I found it sad, actually, when I was there for the election. It's unpleasant. Hopefully Americans, so I love America personally. I hope that they can, what we saw last week. I don't know if they can. But there's a lot more to go there, right?
I could see on your face the multiple struggles that you were having with the guy. You wanted to record to the camera. You wanted to maintain some social distancing. He wasn't wearing a mask. I could see the multiple layers of struggles on your face.
It was so stressful. Do you know what? As well, that was my morning off. I was I'm not a moaner and I'm not like bigging myself up, but I worked so hard I had worked so hard for many days with jet lag and stuff, and I was absolutely exhausted. And that was meant to be my day where I didn't have to go live, and like one of the other guys was gonna cover for me. And then it was when they called the elections, the network started calling it, and my phone. Any journalist will tell you that when something happens and you're the one, my phone was just like, and I was left in my bedroom and thinking, oh no. And I got up, I ran down to the White House to sort of get the vibe, and everyone was streaming it. I mean, it gives you life. If you're a reporter, you love that vibe. But when I look at that video with that guy with the cab, to me, I look absolutely knackered, and I totally was. And so I was just sat up my live. I wanted to speak to people. I wanted to, and I was talking to people saying, "Hey, would anyone speak to me?" But one of our things is like, we don't want to wear masks on air, but when we're speaking to people, we do. And so, because it was possible to do social distancing down there most of the time, you could just have a sort of few meters around you and do your live, and then put your mask back on and move. And so I was setting up, and they were going live. And then he was shouting at me, and I didn't have a mask, and I didn't know what to do. And then, yourself shooting it on a phone, it was just, I was absolutely knackered. I didn't really know exactly what was going. I knew what was going on, but not too.
Oh, you were shooting yourself then?
Yeah. Pretty much any live you see with me is done on the phone. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought of that.
Yeah, I'm a full mojo. I totally believe in it. Don't need cameras anymore. Take my iPhone 11 or better. Don't need a camera. Cameras are dead.
That makes sense.
News TV, I personally don't think, especially for lives.
That makes sense.